I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up.
I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement.
Everything I do so instinctive and so passionate. Every word I move so descriptive like an adjective. I got a vendetta against people who patented being negative when you should be getting after it. I got facts over tracks, this and that. Spitting slow, spitting fast. I could roast, I could gas. Think I'm okay at last, but I don't know if that can erase all the past. And the pettiness, a reflection of the emptiness. Hilarious, you think you're with my time, you're delirious. Mysterious, because you hide behind a fake exterior. Inferior, you know I'll always be a bit superior. Get off of me, this ain't no humble brag. I want you to hear words, you can say them back. I want you to feel free from the chains at last, and to believe in what you got, it was built to last, yeah.
Now that I've been put through hell, I never got anyone's help. I had to do it all myself. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement.
All right, y'all, we're here. We're live. You watching Buster Unmasked, and man, do we got a show for you today. You know the deal. Like this video, share this video. Go to Buster H.R. Johnson on YouTube and subscribe to my channel. Hit that notification bell. That way you know when content's out. Look, guys, we ain't going to waste any time on them. Let me get my words right. I'm going to promote my upcoming podcast, and then we're going to bring our guest on.
I've been dreaming on in my head like I've seen it. A life worth living is a life with meaning. I'll do what I love till my heart stops beating. I'm feeding this demon. Got a taste, can't erase bitterness in my face. Work a job every day till your dreams fade away. Like a card, never change, play the game that we say. I need a break. I'm staying strong, need to move on to be what I want. I'll keep dreaming on. I'm staying strong, need to move on to be what I want. I'll keep dreaming on. Game face on when I chase like that. Yeah, I play so strong with a knife in the back. I'ma swing home run like a baseball bat. Gonna see me rise, you can hate on that. I don't play both sides, don't need no cap. I'ma ride or die for my dreams on tap. I'ma fly real high, you ain't see me slack. No, it's not how you fall, it's how you get right back up. That's how you get tough. Calluses on my hands so rough, yeah, I call your bluff. I'm not the one, mess with me and come out with none. Cause I'm so done, you had your fun. And now you're gonna face down the barrel of the gun. Cause I got a full clip with your name on it. But I'ma let you slide cause you ain't worth it. I'm staying strong, need to move on to be what I want. I'll keep dreaming on. I'm staying strong, need to move on to be what I want. I'll keep dreaming.
All right, y'all, you seen it right there. Be sure to check out all of my upcoming podcasts. Got a lot of good ones coming up. Got more I'm going to be adding here in the near future on into May. But tonight's the night, man. I've been waiting on this one. Let me tell you something. Let me just start out like this. My guest tonight has everybody in the know in the pro wrestling business has their eyes wide open. This guy's well-trained. He's got charisma. He's got style. He's got presence, and he's got the promo. And if you don't know, now you know. He is the last dragon, the one and only Draco. Draco.
Yes. Yep. Oh. Beautiful intro right there, Hellraiser. Beautiful
Man,
intro right there, man. I gotta give you props on that one. I ain't gonna lie to you. I gotta give you props on that one.
thank you, man. It's all about you though today, dude. Here's the thing. Not one lie in that intro, man. Look,
Not one.
I talk to a lot of people in the wrestling business, and everybody has got Draco in their mouth. Everybody, your name is in everybody's mouth, dude. The eyes are open. People are looking at you, man. Like I said, you got style. You got charisma. You got a presence. When you walk through that curtain, it oozes. And you got the promo too, and that's a hell of a package to have, dude. That's a hell of a package to have. All that, man. Talk to me about how you even got in this business, Draco.
All right. Well, if we're gonna talk about that, I gotta bring it all the way back to when I was a child. If we're gonna get personal on here, let's get personal. Let's get right down to the nitty gritty.
Let's do it, man.
I didn't have a lot as a kid. You know what I mean? Especially like growing up, I say to the age around 4 or 5, I didn't really have much, man. I didn't gonna lie to you. The only thing I had was my brother, my sister, and we was in the house and we had a TV. We didn't have like 3.
Draco, if you can hear me, we froze a little bit.
Am I good now?
Yeah, you're good.
All right, I'm good now. Where was I at? Anyway,
you didn't have TV?
Yeah, didn't have TV, didn't have much cable, but we had wrestling on television. And my siblings and I were going through a lot, especially when I was younger. We lost our parents, man. We lost our parents at a very young age. Didn't have a lot to, help raise us like that. You know what I mean? So we had wrestling, and wrestling was how we cope with our loss. You know what I'm saying? Mom's not in the house, grandma's not in the house, she's sick, she can't take care of us. So what do? We take care of each other. And so even though we got times of sadness and stuff like that, but when we don't have that time of sadness, wrestling was on television, and that's all we had. You know what I mean? And that's all that we ever kept, especially me personally, because seeing The Rock on television, somebody who looked like me, you know what I mean, somebody entertaining, charismatic, who not only has the presence, but he talks his stuff, he backs it up. I thought that was cool, even as a kid. You know what I mean? So even though I grow up, I eventually, get into the education and get into the arts in school, and being the athlete I always was. I was a martial artist before this. You know what I mean? So ended up going to school, going to college, graduated with a theater degree in theater performance, actually. So when I got out of college, I moved back home to take care of my mother, and while doing that, working the jobs in between, like, how am I going to make this degree work? How am I going to actually make this work? And I've been Draco for a long time. Like a lot of people close to me can really tell you, I've been Draco for a long time, but I needed a platform to show this entity, if you will,
right?
And the perfect thing was, well, I've got this martial arts experience, I've got the athleticism, I've got the theater degree, I've got the experience in that, working on stage, and of course working in front and behind the camera. What can I do to use that? So I'm working at Walgreens, right? I'm working at a Walgreens, and who pops in to the Walgreens? You know him, buff guy, nice Johnny Bravo type hair. I said, oh man, that's the guy from the Memphis Grizzlies games. I know that guy well. He used to be a wrestler, I think. Said, hey, my name's Dustin Starr. We're bringing up this, this new wrestle training center. Why don't you check us out? And so we went on. I checked them out and stuff like that. And here we are, a year later, like literally just graduated. Come back home, and I'm working at CVS this time. When I'm working at the CVS, guess who pops in here? You know him, buff guy, Johnny Bravo haircut. That must be the guy from the Grizzlies games, but I know his name now. This is Dustin Starr. He said, and I had a different cut then, so he probably didn't recognize. He sees a lot of people every day. So I said, you're Dustin Starr. I said, I talked to you last time. I was working at a Walgreens before. He said, we still got this training session going on, man. You should check us out. So I said, screw it. I checked it out. Around, I'll say to the date, this first super bout, I know it well because I was sitting right there. I was sitting third row, right where Lewis is. Everybody knows Lewis, right behind him. You know what I mean? And that was when Nick Aldis was facing Jonathan Gresham for the NWA, for the Ring of Honor title, for the Ring of Honor heavyweight title. But I think Nick Aldis was NWA champion at the time. He might have not have been, but I think he was. And that was my first experience being in a wrestling environment, period. not just seeing it on TV, like actually being there live. And it was one of the greatest experience I can ever cherish, not only as the kid in me, but as an adult, because I'm like, oh wow, this is actually real. You know what I mean? They got the announcer right there, they got the camera set up right there. There are people cheering and actually, you know, booing this guy, cheering this guy. The guy just did a tope over the top. I remember when Aaron Roberts and Zay were doing their thing, and they had they were the tag team champs. They were the Young Goats. I remember that whole match with them, and I was in awe of everything I saw. When I was in awe, I said, you know what? I think I can do this. I think I can do it. So I went to the seminar afterwards where Jonathan Gresham did the seminar. And he had guys like Ray Sanders, you know what I mean? You had Denzel Rollins, you know what I mean? One of the greatest, I wouldn't say greatest yet, because he still has, you know what I'm saying? We're just getting started, but he's one of the best grapplers, you know, in the Mid-South to this day. I'll say
they don't call him the submission machine for nothing. He is.
Exactly.
Denzel's good.
You had guys like, he's the DJ now, but you had guys like Clown before he was before he started doing the actual DJing. Clown was actually wrestling. He was actually training to wrestle. Of course, you had guys like Big John Dalton in there, you know, and I'm seeing these guys actually working holds and getting out of holds and going towards the back and doing backside slams. I'm like, look, I'm a martial artist, dude. I'm actually, you know what I'm saying, hitting folks and knocking folks out. Like, I can't do this. I'm not no wrestler. So I went home. After the seminar. And so it was about 3-4 months. I'll say what that happened in like February. I say in June is when I said, screw it. I've got nothing else going for me. I'm sick of, you know what I mean, just working and going home. And I paid all this money and did all this to have this degree, and I'm not using it. So I said, screw it. Let me just go ahead and just start training. So I put my down payment down, and I paid my dues. I didn't pay them in full, but I paid them in full. You know what I mean? And but I never stopped paying dues. But back to me started out, and it was exactly what I thought it was going to be. You know what I mean? Went in there, started training, and I took my first bump. I said, yep, this is what I meant to do. My first day going home, I said, yep, this is what I meant to do. And I love feeling hurt from the ring. I love that feeling. I love the feeling of the ropes coming to hit you back off so you can hit that other side. I love that feeling. I love how a ring sounds. I love how a ring moves. I love everything about the ring. I love setting up the ring. I love learning about how to set up a ring, how a ring works. I love wrestling. And how can you not? You know what I mean? How can you not?
Dude, so, I want to show you something. I don't know if you can see this, and I hate to pull something from The Rock, but that's what I get from you, dude. I talk to a lot of people, and within the first 30 seconds of you started talking, I started getting chill bumps. You can see them right. No shit, dude. That's what I'm talking about. When I say presence, that's something that you can't teach. That's something you have naturally, dude. I didn't mean to interrupt you. Click right back in, man.
No, you're all good. I mean, after that, you know, the rest is history. You know, I start training in June. You know what I mean?
June of what year?
So June of 2022. So
okay, that's what I thought.
Here we are in 2025 in March, you know, so going on year 3, right? You know, still rookie, still green, still, I wouldn't say green as shit as the vets say, but I'm still green. I'm still learning, you know, and in this business, you're never going to stop learning. Anybody, I'm learning from a guy now. Anybody that says they're a master at something, walk away from them, because you're never too good to learn something new, right? And so with that, you know what I mean. Here we are. And March, we're going back to me starting out. You know, we had the first Stars of Tomorrow, you know, and me still learning how to wrestle, but they know I can talk. You know what I'm saying? They know I can do this promo thing. And when I did my first promo there, everybody was in awe. You had guys like Trace Lee Hunt there. You know what I mean? And Trace Lee Hunt was like, dude, your voice is incredible. And I'm not trying to, you know, make myself look good or anything. I'm just saying what was said. You know, and from that, I said, okay, maybe I can be the talker guy, you know, because I originally wanted to be in wrestling to be a commentator, because I didn't think I could do the actual wrestling part. You know, I was too small, you know what I mean? You know what they say, too small. Yeah,
but you got that presence, man. It's like exactly. Rey Mysterio. Rey Mysterio, you can put him in the ring with the Giant, and unless they want you to know he's that much smaller than the Giant, you forget about it. You don't even recognize the time the match starts going, man.
Right. So we have Stars of Tomorrow. So we have 2 nights of it, kind of like how they do in WrestleMania now, which is funny because they weren't doing a WrestleMania like that before Stars of Tomorrow came out. Now, I'm not saying like WWE's looking at what we're doing, you know what I'm saying? But don't you find that I don't believe in coincidences, but we have starts on tomorrow. I'm on night 2, or I'm on show 2, taping 2. And I'm supposed to be working this angle with Martin, or Precious. Everybody knows him as Precious. I know Miss Precious and Martin. You know what I mean? But Martin's a mentor of mine. I still call him to this day. You know what I'm saying? And Martin said, okay, we're going to do it. We're going to do it. He said, show me who you are. Tell me who you are. Because I'm nervous. This is my first time talking in front of people in this setting before. So it's like, this is real. This is not me reading a script or playing a character. This is actually me, but I got to turn it up times 10. You know what I mean? Times 100, really. So I went out there and I told exactly I told the people who I was. I'm the last dragon Draco. I'm the mini. I'm the one in the mini, the yin and the yang and the line in between. And a lot of people, when I said that, they when I came back, they were like, what's this Mortal Kombat stuff or this Street Fighter stuff you're talking about? But that's real. You know what I mean? Like, I'm this guy. I am to the 3rd degree, very trained in my skills. You know what I mean? 3rd degree black belt in Taekwondo. Won my world title in 2012, and back in July in 2012, turned 14 the next day. You know what I mean?
Didn't know that, dude.
Yeah, man. Like I did it. You know, I've been all across all over the world fighting. You know what I'm saying? And being an international Taekwondo competitor from the time I was 12 to the time I was really 18 until I got to college. You know,
so you're used to pressure.
I'm used to pressure,
and that's one thing that gets to people, especially in the wrestling business. Like you said, you're out there in front of people, first times ever, talking, all this other stuff. Nerves can play a hell of a havoc on your system, building up that. But you've had you've been under that kind of pressure before. So how was that? How was that?
The nerves are always going to be there.
Right.
And the nerves were there that night for sure. You know what I'm saying? New guy in, everybody knows at least all the other trainees that came out because they've seen them before. I'm the last trainee to come on, and at least in that first class of the Wrestle Center, so people don't know who I am. So I didn't want to go out there and do too much, but I said at least let the people know who you are. You know, and you, I didn't know what I was going to say, and a lot of the promos I did in Memphis, or period, not only in Memphis but anywhere else I do a promo, it's not something that I wrote down or have something written on my hand. They're going off it's going off the top of that dome because I'm very passionate about not only about the wrestling business, but me in the wrestling business.
That's how it should be.
Yeah, exactly. So I just said what was real, and I said what I wanted the people to know. I'm the last dragon. I'm this martial artist. What's up, Sosa? I'm the last dragon. I'm this martial artist. I'm not good yet, but I will be, and I'm gonna be that guy that when you see on the card, you're gonna go and buy the ticket. You know what I mean? Like,
so just that quick. You pretty much kind of branded yourself right there. You kind of described to the people, let them know what to expect in a way. You know what I mean? That first promo out, that's hard for a lot of people to do. Most people can't do that.
And that's what they said when I came back to the back. They were like, dude, I don't think anybody's done a promo on their first debut, and they have the people chanting his name afterwards. That's literally what happened. You have it's on video. I did the promo, walked back out. And I walked back through the curtain, and people were chanting Draco, and that's their first time seeing me. That's when I knew. I said, "Oh yeah, that was like the not the straw that broke the camel's back, but that's what was the defined print right there." It was like, "Yep, you're meant to do this," and everything else just went up from there. You know, yep.
And I didn't realize that you were a 100% product of the Wrestle Center either.
I know that talked about a lot.
I know that you give credit to Derek King and Alan Steele for training you, which is two guys, man. I feel like that training shows through every time I watch you out there.
I hope
whether it's in the ring or just cutting a promo or something. I feel like that really shines through because you being from a real sports background, you understand how important it is to learn proper techniques, learn the basics. Everything's built from the basics up.
You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. And then really the base, that's all you need. That's how I learned in Taekwondo. You know what I mean? In martial arts, like know the basics, you know, and as you get up in belt rank, you learn different techniques and you start to, you know, develop those techniques. And when you hit black belt, you start doing all these competitions.
Right.
You win these competitions with the basics. I don't know how many times I've won a championship with a straight side kick. You learn that your first day in Taekwondo. before you even get your uniform. That's the first thing you learn. I don't know how many times I've won with a reverse punch, which is the second thing you learn. You know what I mean? I've won maybe once or twice with a jump reverse, you know what I'm saying, 360 round kick. I maybe won that maybe once or twice, and that's out of desperation. You know what I mean? Or that's when I know I got the lead. That's just me showing out. You know what I'm saying? But the basics is what make that. And then from the basics, you work on up. I try to tell the, you know what I'm saying, the guys that are coming up now, guys like CJ Blaine, guys like Rashawn Harvey, guys like Heavy Hands Harris. You know what I'm saying? He's a new guy that's about to come out. You know what I mean? And when he comes out, he's going to be something. I tell the guys, learn the basics, study the basics to where you're not doing it right. You can't get it wrong.
Master the basics first.
Exactly.
Master the basics.
Master the basics first.
That's one thing I see a lot with guys, and it ain't just nowadays. It's always been that way. Young guys come into business, they immediately want to, if they can do flips, they want to do flips instead of learning arm drags, lockups, footworks, bumps, rolls. You got to learn all the basics first, because you can do all the flashy shit you want to do, but when it comes time to wrestling, you need to wrestle. If you ain't got the basics, you're going to be lost.
Yeah. Because somebody's got you on the ground, you know what I mean? Somebody's got you on the ground from the back. You should know how to get out of that. You know what I mean? Because if you don't, you're just going to sit there. And the guy, most likely a vet who's working you, he's going to work you. You know what I mean? And you don't want to be worked to the point where it's like, it looks like you don't know what you're doing. You know what I'm saying? Because from that, it's like the fans will know, oh, what's this guy doing in here? He needs to get the hell out of here. You know what I'm saying? Or they'll start booing you because you suck. And the fans will tell you, you suck. And when the fans tell you suck and you really suck,
I don't think people understand that. Some wrestlers go out there and they get certain heat from the fans, and there's a difference in real good heat and heat like these motherfuckers don't want to see you no more. And that's what you don't want, is that just leave. We don't care about you. Just go on. You're wasting our time. That's the worst kind of heat you can possibly get.
Who's all in here right now, man? Shadow Warrior, you're in here. Shadow Warrior, I'm gonna talk about you soon.
Ricky Kennedy was in here.
Ricky
Mark
Kennedy
McGee's in here.
Who else? Mark, what's going on?
Tattoos in here.
Tattoos, my man. I ain't gonna lie to you. I can talk about Tattoo. You know what I mean? If anything, Tattoo did this tattoo. You know?
Oh, really?
Tattoo
there you go.
This. You know, and I learned a lot from Tattoo. Tattoo did my trunks. You know what I mean? The trunks that I come out in now. You know, Tattoo did that. You know what I mean? And what's good about the Mid-South is that you can learn and you can, you know what I'm saying, use your fellow, I guess, vets and other wrestlers to your advantage, to where to where everybody benefits. You know what I mean? Knowledge is everywhere. Knowledge is literally everywhere. It's how you use it. It's whether it's deemed good or bad. That's always been a philosophy I've stuck by. You know what I mean?
So let me ask you this, Draco. How old are you, man?
I'm 26. I will be 27 this year.
So you young.
Everybody's saying that. You're so young.
Yeah, man. For the wrestling business, you really just now, probably in the next few years, hitting the right age, man. And you've developed, like I said in the get-go, the one thing that surprised me, because I've had my eye on you for a while, but over the past probably year, man, I've seen so much. You've developed so fast. You've evolved, in not just in the ring, but your personality. I still see you evolving as who you are, as Draco, the Last Dragon. It keeps taking steps. You know, like you went from the blonde hair to now it's more dark, face paint, a little more Muda-ish, you know?
I knew we were going to get on this.
Well, to talk about that, who are some of your influences? Because here, let me lay this out here first. Because here's my thought. Back in the 80s, there was a movie called, I want to say it was The Last Shogun, The Last Dragon.
The Last Dragon.
Bruce Leroy.
Right. Yep.
Bruce Leroy. Right. So is that an inspiration for some of your gimmicks?
You are absolutely right.
Man, because I love that movie, dude.
Like watching Rock on TV as a kid, you know what I mean? When I watched that movie, and it's one of the greatest movies ever made, one of the greatest fighting movies, not only that, but culturally, this speaks to me. If you get what I'm saying, culturally, this speaks to me. You know what I mean? Like I said, growing up as this martial artist, Bruce Lee was the guy to look to, because he's the greatest fighter, that not only fighter, but you know what I'm saying, you could say action star or action star that ever lived. You know what I mean? And his philosophy about not only fighting, but life is so Oh, I can't. I get goosebumps talking about Bruce Lee. You know what I mean? Because he's somebody to study. And then
Let me
here
ask
you
you.
yeah, go ahead.
Well, let me ask you something, because this is all right. You've been in real fights, real competition. There's this age-old question of how do you think Bruce Lee would fare in modern MMA today?
Man, modern MMA, I ain't gonna lie to you. Bruce, ooh, that's a hard question. That's a hard question to answer right now. I mean, even back then in his weight class, like, because he would back then, you know, you would fight like whoever was the one who beat the last guy. Now they have set it up in weight divisions and stuff like that. If anything, if we're talking about now, I see Bruce Lee where Dana White and Joe Rogan are. You know what I mean? If not higher than that, because he's the father of MMA. I don't care what anybody says.
Right. Bruce, yeah, I agree with that. I was a huge Bruce
is the
Lee
father
fan.
of MMA. You're absolutely right. Now, when MMA and the UFC started to break that mold and started to become mainstream, like in the 90s, when you had guys like Don Fry and Ken Shamrock and Frank Shamrock, guys like Mark the Hammer Coleman. Come on, man. I could go on and on. Guys like Chuck Liddell. You know what I'm saying? That's damn near blood sport back then. You know what I mean? And guys were men then. Those were real men that were beating the hell out of each other. Real men. Not saying Bruce is not a real man, but those are real, you know what I'm saying? Get home every night, drink this, train and do that.
Smoke.
You know what I'm saying? Smoke, do all of that. You know what I mean? And still wake up. And these are the guys that are on the same level of the guys that were doing the wrestling back in the 80s and the 90s.
Right.
You know what I mean? Going out, training, hitting this show, hitting this road, hitting this road. And a lot of the vets in Mid-South talk about that. That's how they say that. Yeah, here we go. And he said how they say that us young guys are like, you guys wouldn't make it back then. You know what I mean? Or you guys wouldn't do that. Some of us are doing that to this day. Some of us did.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Some of us actually wanted that. Oh, I got my ass whooped. That's how I made it. You know what I mean?
Well, let's talk about it. Well, let me ask you something, because here's the thing.
Yeah.
There is a difference in being a martial artist and a fighter.
Right.
Fighters are different I mean, there's a lot of great martial artists, but that don't mean you got that heart and that dog in you to step in that cage and fight it out, man. And that's a big difference. Yeah. There's a lot of great martial artists that might quite translate once you put them in that cage, because at the end of the day, that's when it becomes your skills one thing, your technique, but it boils down to that heart and toughness.
That fight you got, man.
That's right.
That fight you got.
And so, talk to me about how it was for you coming from Taekwondo, real sport, to stepping in wrestling. Obviously, you loved it. You said you loved it from the time you was a kid.
Yeah.
But how was it transition? Because you said when I first seen it, I thought, I hit people for real. I can't do this. I'm not gonna be able to do this. When did the light bulb go off for you to like, no, I can do this. I can really be good at this.
Really, when I started actually working matches, you know what I mean, and folks were telling me, hey, you need to lighten up a little bit. You know what I'm saying? You work a little too stiff. I said, I'm sorry, I'm coming from this background and stuff like that. And then when I started hearing about other people telling me, hey, Draco work a little stiff, I kind of didn't like that. You know what I mean? Because I thought that's how we all worked. You know what I'm saying? You would want it to be as stiff, at least to where the fans saw, like, ooh, you know, where they do that face. But then, man, you have to know your audience. You have to know your audience, and you have to know your promotion. You have to know who you're in the ring with. Some folks can take that stiff stuff. Some folks you gotta lighten up on, and you just have to read that. You know, I
always live by the motto that if I hit you with a forearm and the fans see it, I don't want them to think, well, I could take that. First thing I want them to think is, oh shit, I'm glad that wasn't me.
Want to take that,
you know, because there's a difference there, and I agree with you. I like physical wrestling.
Yeah.
For me, I had the same issue when I come in the business. Everybody, I was too stiff.
Yeah.
You know, and it took me a while to kind of find that middle ground where I could still be somewhat stiff, but also work at the same time. So you didn't hurt anybody, didn't injure anybody.
Right.
But coming from that background, man,
it really didn't click until I started wrestling DK. And I started wrestling DK,
right there.
And he's the guy who trained me. You know what I'm saying? So working if anybody I could learn from in the ring, it's definitely him. So
and he's a full psychology, full entertainment type wrestling match.
Yeah.
Derek is the quintessential WWF, WWE of the day style wrestling match. Everything is, it's all about the show for Derek, man. And that's how you really learn how to work too.
Yeah.
There's a way to work physical, but that's the entertainment part of the working in the wrestling business.
Right. You have to learn to tell a story.
Right.
You know? And that's really what I learned from DK. If I didn't know how, you know, wrestling is the easy part. Doing the moves is the easy part. DK would say, a monkey could do the moves, but it's the storytelling that plays so well, you know. And I feel like I learned storytelling, or learning how to tell a story through the work, or through the body of work that is wrestling at MCW. You know, I give tribute to Osceola. I give tribute to Harry Clapp and to all the Claps, but most specifically Harry, or AKA Serpent. You know, and when I started in MCW, that was who my first rivalry was. You know,
dude, that's where I cut my teeth at back when Moondog owned it.
Where you cut your teeth.
I mean, there's a lot of guys. Everybody around here has been through Osceola at some point in time or another, man.
Yeah, and Osceola is a good place to cut your teeth at. You know what I mean? Like it's a great place to start out. You have a great environment where the fans are going to say something, and they are not going to be afraid to tell you how they feel. Trust me. I know, but like I said, great place. My rivalry with Serpent, from winning the junior heavyweight title to forming the faction, the Circle of Bosses, like that was a hell of a time for me. Like being told, all right, you're champ. Oh, okay, I didn't think I was ready for this, but this is where you're going to learn. From that on, as I got it and where it clicked, they said, okay, we're going to give you a little more. He said, you're going to pair with him, and you guys are going to be together. Oh, snap. We're going to be together? Cool. So our job was to do what? We were bad guys at this point. Me and Gia had already did our heel turn. You know what I'm saying? And so we brought that to Osceola. Added Don Montana on, the Bluff City Boss, added him on. Boom, here we are, the Circle of Bosses. And that was actually Don Montana's idea for the name. And we ran with it. We thought it was cool.
He's an underrated guy too, I believe, man. Underrated. I think he's highly underrated around our area, to be honest with you.
Yeah, no doubt about that. And we took over Osceola. We took it over. Gio became the legacy champ. I became the junior heavyweight champ. You know what I mean? Don Montana, he was our forcer. Anybody that messed with us, they was going to meet his spear. And a lot of folks met that spear. You know what I mean? From then on, as me leaving out of Osceola, I guess, and going into where I'm at now, you know, me and Ray Sanders started to have a feud. And if anybody has, if I can talk about rivalries with anybody, it's me and Ray Sanders. Like, and it's, I like to note that is, if he's Steamboat, I'm Flair. And I don't mean in the sense of how great it is, but you have to realize the history.
The rivalry,
the rivalry. You know what I'm saying? These guys wrestled each other, were married to each other for years. You know what I mean? And that's a word I can use. You know what I'm saying? These guys were literally married to each other. There was a time where me and Ray were literally married to each other. In any promotion that we were on the same card, we were wrestling each other. And we know each other like this. And our chemistry is so great to where we don't even have to talk about what's going on. It was like, who's going over? All right, cool. We'll work it.
That's how it really should be right there.
Yeah.
That's how it should be, man. Sometimes I think people overcomplicate their wrestling matches a lot of times. You know, simple. Keep it simple, man. Don't lose your fans.
Because everybody wants to have that WrestleMania match. Speaking on Derek, when he said everybody wants to have the WrestleMania match, and when I was in training, they say, "Hey, this ain't WrestleMania." You know what I mean? And when I started hearing that, I said, "Okay, so what is this? You know, this is TV. This is crowd house shows. These you're wrestling for the people." You know what I mean? So when I understood that was when I started to study, you know, Sunday Night Heat, Monday Night Raw, of course, back in the 90s with the Attitude Era. But right before, you know what I mean, I started watching guys like Bret Hart, started watching guys like Keiji Muto and Masahiro Chono in Japan. And I'll even go back to that. You know, I love Japanese wrestling. You know, that's where that stiff work comes from. That
right.
I love that. As a kid, we had a friend whose dad was in the Air Force, and when he came home, he had a whole bunch of tapes in his and a friend of mine, we were over his house, and we're looking for tapes to watch and stuff like that, and we see Budokan. When we see Budokan, we're thinking something different. Tate, Budokan. We're like, oh snap, what's this? We pop it in and we see Japanese wrestling. We see guys like Masawa coming down. You know what I mean? Guys like Tiger Mask. You know what I mean? Guys like Hayabusa and guys like what's his name? He was in WWF. He wore the all white with it. Hakushi, Jinsei Shinzaki. You know what I mean? Guys, plenty of guys to study from and to fall in love with this business. So, and that's a dream of mine, going to Japan, wrestling for New Japan. Well,
let me ask you this. What do you think about the modern Japanese wrestling compared to the 80s and 90s? Because from my perspective, I almost feel like modern Japanese wrestling has gotten slightly a little too Americanized almost.
It has, because you have Gaijin coming in now, and you have major Gaijin coming in now. For those who don't know, Gaijin are foreigners to Japanese. Right. So if you're ever a Japanese wrestler and you're American or from somewhere else, they're gonna call you Gaijin. And I know how it feels to be called something that's a different name than what you're used to being called. So you know what I'm saying. And when you go over there, and I learned this from Stan Hansen, and it's funny to say I learned this from him because I studied. That when you go over there, they're gonna think something different of you. And I learned that going to England, you know what I mean? And because we're on their turf, and they're gonna do whatever it takes to make sure that they are the top dog, they're superior ones, not just in the sense of color or in the sense of what you call it, or in the sense of manliness. Is in the sense of like nationality. Us Japanese or us wherever we're at, us Europeans, us Canadians, when they're in our home turf, you're in our home turf. You guys are beneath us. And when you go over there, you have to show, no, we're on equal accord. If anything, I'm better than you, but I'm willing to show it on your home turf. That's why we're so heels, because we don't conform to their standards. If they're going to be hit with, we already know if we're hit hard, we're going to hit hard back, if not even harder. We're not just going to take that and just go on, bow our heads and go on around the next bay. You know what I mean? We're going to hit back.
Here's the thing, that happens in wrestling. I think it used to happen more than it does now. Yeah. But there's a lot of people been attitude checked in the wrestling business through the years, man. Yep. Somebody a little stiff with you. A lot of times that's just a test to see whether you're gonna cower down or you gonna fight back. Once you fire back, let them know you ain't gonna be pushed around. Then that's when the work really starts. After that, man.
I've definitely been tested in the 3 years I've been in. I've definitely been tested. And I will say this is a test that, I've mostly passed, you know what I mean? But not with flying colors, but I barely pass, you know what I mean? Because you have to stay with, it's a thin line. Right. It's a very thin line. And you have to walk that thin line. Right. You know what I mean? If you confirm one way or the other, you're going to fall. So there are times where you got to, hey, you're a little stiff, kid. I didn't mean it like that. You're a little stiff, kid. Yep, you got it. My fault. I'm just excited. There are times we're like, hey, let me have that. You know what I mean? And I'm like, dude, I'm trying to kill this guy. You know what I'm saying? So it's like I said, it's a thin line, but what are you going to do? This is the game we love, and we're going to do whatever it takes to keep it not only alive, but to keep it thriving to where generations afterwards, people are still talking about it to this day.
Well, let me ask you this. When you started training in professional wrestling, how was the training for you compared to Taekwondo?
Man, if anything, because in Taekwondo, you're working every muscle in the body, from when you throw a kick to where you're doing the stance, and you learn to strengthen that as you go on, with the basic that helps you strengthen. And once you strengthen, you build. And once you build, you make better. And once you make better, you have it to where it can't be lost, and that's kind of how going into professional wrestling was. You train the basics. We drilled the basics, learn how to bump. Learn how to take this bump. Learn how to take this. Learn how to take this.
How were the bumps for you? The ring. What did you expect from the wrestling rings? And even hitting the ropes around here, because we're used to steel cables around here. Mm-hmm. When you first start training, they'll eat your ass up, man.
Oh, I cannot tell you how many times I took Epsom salt baths from hitting those ropes. You know what I mean? Because
that's a training pro wrestler's best friend is a hot Epsom salt bath, man.
Yes. Because they won the ropes the ropes. If you hit them like me, I love the feel of it. So I take my shirt off and hit it, and it kind of tears. If you hit them so hard and you hit them so long, they tear the skin off of your back. Right. You know what I mean? So where you get scarred up from it. you know, and hitting a bump. You know what I'm saying? The human body is not supposed to take this kind of punishment. That, like JR would say that all the time because it's true. The human body was not supposed to hit cable ropes and bounce back off at what, you know, saying 8 miles an hour type stuff.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Or it's not supposed to hit ground and bounce back up like it's nothing. The human body's not supposed to do that. That's why a lot of wrestlers, especially back then, were big. You know what I mean? So their body could absorb, their muscle could absorb that shock opposite.
Right.
You know, that shock absorption. You know what I'm saying? That's why they're saying a lot of guys are getting hurt now because they're smaller. Is it true? Yes and no, but you know what I mean?
Here's the one thing I learned early on in training. Guys who avoid the bump, when you try to take a softer bump, that's when it hurts worse and you get hurt. The harder you slam your body into the mat, the less it seems to hurt for some reason. I don't know why. And like you said, guys used to be beefier. The more weight you got, you hit that mat harder automatically. Right. When I come in, it was the attack the mat era. You know, it was all about the bumps. I love bumping hard and crisp.
That's how I was taught. Hit the mat, attack the mat.
Right.
The mat is your best friend. Attack that mat because you're gonna get a better sound off of that bump anyway. You know what I mean? So say if a guy punches you, you know what I'm saying, and he says, take this bump, like as DK, he's like, take the bump. You know what I mean? You got to hit that mat because that's what's going to make those fans believe, oh man, that guy's right hand is something different. You know what I mean? He hit a guy and he went to the corner, but that guy fell flat on his ass. That guy's right hand is crazy. You're already making the guy you're in there with. And when you make that guy you're in there with, he's going to put you over. It's give and take. And that's what I learned in college and theater. Give and take. It's exactly that.
Well, let's talk about that for a minute because I had a guy, Draco Prince, on a few months ago.
That's my boy too.
He was a guy who took drama in high school and stuff.
Yeah.
I had Deacon Pierce on. He's another guy who did some drama and some acting in high school.
Yeah.
And both of these guys, theater, and both of these guys, man, I feel like it really helped them. When they transferred and translated into wrestling, I feel like that theater really helped that because here's the thing. You can be the greatest athlete in the world, but if you can't convey your emotions to those fans, you're not going to get them, man. You're only going to hit a certain level. That's it. You're only going to hit a certain level. It's that connection with that audience, being able to do that takes you up here. So talk to me about that, about the transition from doing some theater and stuff to wrestling. How do you feel it helped you?
I'll say it like this. Let's talk. If we're gonna talk about that, let's bring the analogy into it. So when I started out, it was me and Gio. Me and Gio were the babyface. We're the babyface tag team. You know what I mean? Before then, Gio was the babyface single guy, but he was, still making his rounds. And they put me with him, which. At first, I felt bad for it because I was like, Gio's always about to have this on this rise. He's going to, you know what I'm saying? I got to learn from this guy. You know what I mean? And I feel like I'm going to be bringing him down because I'm the new guy in. So at first, I was like, I don't know how I feel about this. But when we had our matches at Super Bout 2, you know what I mean? Where we debuted there, the people loved it. So I said, oh, okay, maybe we can work something from this.
Yeah, I think you guys accented each other.
Yeah,
a whole lot, man. I think a lot of times you find that, man.
Yeah,
two guys. Sometimes you don't have no connection, but I feel like y'all are enough opposite,
right?
That when you put you together, it creates something there that ain't normal. Exactly. Y'all feed off of each other.
And it's cool that you say. It's funny that you say that because how we're different but kind of the same. When we were babies, Gio, if you studied. Gio more took the lead when we were baby faces. He would come out first. He would, you know what I'm saying? He would be the hot tag to come in. He's the one who finishes the matches. He's the one who takes the pin, or he's the one who does the pin. He's the one who makes that last final move, that last move to where that guy doesn't get up from that 3 count. Transferring over to where we're having a little beef or having a little, having a little, come to blows, I start more take the lead as the heel. When we turn heel, you see me more take the reins. You know what I mean? Me being the younger, more I played it as me being younger, more of the attitude, like big brother. Right. Big brother's gonna know how this stuff goes, but he wants little brother to be the one to be like, hey, Like, you can do it this way, but there's gonna be some consequences. Like, and little brother's like, you don't know what you're talking about. So sometimes big brother has to put little brother in his place. What you saw at the Rumble, what you saw at the match before the Rumble, and the match after Rumble is exactly what you saw. Little brother was doing too much, so big brother had to put him in his place.
And here's the thing. That's storytelling. That's things that real people can identify with every day of the week because everybody goes through it.
Yeah. And to make the story greater, we went from being babies tag teaming to the next year being heels tag teaming to that next year being heels and separating, and somebody's going to turn. You know what I mean? Everybody expected. Well, I don't think anybody expected us to turn baby together. They knew one of us was going to turn on each other.
Right.
I don't think they expected me to turn on them, to turn on Gio. And that was the beauty of the situation. You know what I mean? Gio's a great guy. Gio's a great wrestler, a great guy.
And he's over.
And he's over like Rover, man.
Over, man.
When you've got a great hero type guy who's over, you need that other counterpart, that yin and that yang.
Yep.
I was that yang for him. I need to be the exact opposite of he did. And I had to get my heat. So I ran him over. I did. I ran over Gio. And did I feel good about it? No, but you have to do what you have to do to get ahead. And from then, as you can see, I got ahead. I had my own, you know what I'm saying? I had my own episode for Memphis Wrestling. You saw Draco, why, and you instantly clicked. You didn't even see me. You saw the name. You had to click there. You know what I'm saying? Because I love this stuff so much and I'm passionate about it. It's that because I care and I put my 100% all in everything that I do, whether if I'm wrestling in the main event or if I'm wrestling on the first match of the show or in the pre-show, I'm going to give my all, whether you like it or not. I know you're going to watch. And when you watch, you're going to be in awe of everything that I do, to whether you may not like me once I come back or once I come in, but when I leave, you're going to say that Draco guy is something. And everybody's going to say that any place that I go. I don't care what anybody says. A lot of people be like, you're a little too confident. You got to be in this business. You got to be a little maniacal. You got to be a little out there to get what you want. And I'm not afraid to do that. I'm really not. I'm really not afraid to say how I feel and how and I'm going to say what I'm going to do, and I'm going to do it. Guarantee. And there's nobody who can stop me to do that. Steve Austin taught me that in ECW. I'm going to be the greatest superstar that I know that I can be, because there's nobody in this world and there's nobody who hasn't told me that I couldn't do it. Everybody's told me from the time I was little to the time now, to the time I was in the army, to the time now, to the time I was in college, to the time now, to the time where I was on stage doing stuff. They said that guy is going to be something someday. Not just Draco. Zachary Page Westbrook is going to be somebody. Whether and it was,
and that's where it really starts at. Here's the thing: I believe the most successful professional wrestlers, they give us a piece of who they really are inside. Exactly. Dusty Rhodes, really the American dream. He believed that in his heart. Ric Flair, limousine riding, jet flying, party all night. He was that guy for real. In real life, he had that inside him. I think that's how you get the most successful pro wrestlers, when they can take some of their real personality and then make it marketable to unlimited extremes, man. That's when you really are. That's when that connection happens with the fans, because here's the thing. Pro wrestlers aren't actors. Fans do not look at pro wrestlers like actors. They want you to be who you're supposed to be. And they believe that person before the internet, and they got to see everybody's real life and their personal name. When you met a fan that watched you on TV or watched you grow up watching you wrestle, they believed who they seen in the ring and who they seen at the show. They believed that's who you really were. And the most successful wrestlers in history, that was really part of them. Look at The Rock. The Rock was always The Rock. He just had to get that opportunity to start letting that come out of him.
Absolutely. And that's the beauty. That's the beauty about this business. You know what I mean? Is that the fans look at us so highly. You know what I mean? Is that even if you are putting on the front, you have to put on a hell of an eminence front to make that, you know what I'm saying, character come to life. If that's really you and the fans know that's really you, they're gonna like you either way, even if they're supposed to not like you. I can go back to Super Bout and talk about how Shadow Warrior did his thing. Hellraiser, have you ever heard of a guy turning a kid heel? Not only just him being a heel, Shadow Warrior, that first Super Bout, you know what I mean? He came out with Mike Anthony, and he had, you know what I'm saying, his hair and his Memphis wrestling stuff. Oh, I'm a cool kid. I'm yeah. Dog, when I went out there and he handed me that chair, first of all, when I went over there to act like I was gonna miss them like Muda, he was the only one that didn't run. Everybody else ran. Shadow Warrior, from then on, Shadow Warrior was born. Not out of fear, but out of confidence. That kid has a lot more confidence than not only a lot of guys in the back, but a lot of guys that I know that are doing this right now, and they don't think that they're really that. That's what sets me apart from everybody else.
Talk about that a minute.
Say I'm good.
Let's talk about that a minute, because that seems to be a running theme throughout my podcast, is how important, not just in pro wrestling, but life in general, but in pro wrestling, man, your confidence, where you are in your mental head, is highly important. Because if you're, I can watch people that I watch all the time. I can watch them in a match, and if their confidence is high, I can tell their confidence is high by the way they're wrestling. If their confidence is low, I can see it immediately, because the match, they ain't what they could be when their confidence is high. And if I can see it, the fans can tell that too. They may not pinpoint it. They may not be able to say, well, he's lacking his confidence today, but I can immediately tell, because there's some I watch when they're on and everything is perfect.
Yeah.
They're fucking stars.
Yeah.
But I see them at the same time other times when their confidence ain't at that level, and they're not stars. Where here's the thing about being a pro wrestler. Even if your confidence is low, you got to be able to fake it when you're out there. You got to be able to not let the people see that. You got to turn it on, just like you said.
Absolutely. And when you say turn it on, I'll bring that back to Super Bout. You know what I mean? When I did the Muda gimmick, you know what I mean? There were some folks that didn't like that. You know what I mean? They thought that, you know, what I had going on prior going in was all that was needed. You know, but I had confidence in myself. I had confidence in myself to know that I could turn something that from, I guess, years of
layers.
You
added another layer to Draco, man.
Because when the promo came out for me challenging Gio to Super Bout, there was only like maybe a snippet, maybe about 10-15 seconds of what was actually said in that promo that I sent. You know what I mean? I said, if I'm gonna put it out there, I made the promo, and what I said was, Super Bout, I've been tapping into my darker side ever since Grind City Rumble, and from that time of me being away from Memphis, and of course, and that was when the time I moved. You know what I mean? I'm in Houston, Texas now. You know what I'm saying? Trying to further my career out here and further my training out here, learning from, you know what I'm saying, vets and Hall of Famers.
Are you out there working at Booker T's?
I am studying at places, but Booker T is on my list to enter at. Now I'll get back to Booker T, but with going back to Super Bout and the confidence thing, did I ask for permission to do that said gimmick? Yes and no, but either way, I had the confidence to know that the people would understand that I took it to another level to show that not only do I take this seriously, I took it seriously enough to add it to the storyline, which is great. What you saw was not just a tribute to great music.
I didn't think that whatsoever. It just struck me as it was different. It was a new kind of Draco, like you said, darker.
Exact as I am the last dragon, but you've had multiple dragons in wrestling before. So I like to dub it as the spirit of the dragon is what possessed me at Super Bout. because as you have Ricky, as you have Shingo, as you have Daniel Bryan, as you have others that have come about after them, now you have me. You know what I mean? I'm a part of that Dragon family of professional wrestling. And I'm going to take it a little bit further because I am the young one. So from everybody in wrestling, you've seen it all. Everything's been done. So they said. Everything's been done. But if I can add a little bit of character, a little bit more character to where I could pull it out when this isn't working. You know what I mean? To where I could go back and I can continue that story. You know what I mean? Because I did the miss part, and I didn't do the miss on purpose because I know I can add more to that story. Oh, Draco didn't win in Super Bout with Gio because he couldn't do the miss at that point. So he goes to he may start training with New Japan and learn a little bit more to where he either meets Keiji Muto or the Great Muta, or he has a match with Tajiri, or you know what I'm saying, knock on wood, if it ever happens, I start training under Asuka. You know what I'm saying? And I learned that from them. You know what I mean? That's where you have to add in where that story could go. So that's why I did the Great Muta gimmick, because I wanted to add a little bit of darker presence to my character. You know, anybody can dye their hair blonde and say, I'm this bad sumbitch that's going to come out and wreck everything because I'm the most pissed off man here. Anybody can say that. You know what I mean? And everybody's seen that, Draco. You know what I mean? And Super Bowl is our big event. That's our WrestleMania. So why not bring out the big thing? You know what I mean? But that's just me.
Well, here's the thing. You don't want to be a one-trick pony either.
Exactly.
Here's the thing. If you want to have a short wrestling career, be a one-trick pony. You got one thing you do and that's it. You need to add those layers to who you are. And here's the thing. I tell guys all the time, I see now a lot of guys get in the business just starting, and before they even know how to do the basics, before they can do a lockup, they've already decided what their character is going to be and all this stuff, when really you need to get in there, be trained by people who is properly training you, learn your basics. The gimmick's already in there. Just give it time to evolve. It'll come out on its own. You need to learn your craft and just take it slow. Don't come out and pigeonhole yourself into one thing, because a lot of guys have characters in their head, and then once they get trained, they realize that ain't me, and that ain't going to work. That ain't going to work. You know, it's not me. It's got to be part of you. And layers, you need to have multiple layers to who you are, because that opens the doors to more opportunities, more stories, more angles, more things you can do.
Exactly. And I plan to do that, you know, and when the time comes, that character and that attire, I guess countenance, if you will come back, and we'll continue a story. But right now, Draco is focused on being the best that he can be, no matter if the people like it or not, wherever he's going to show up at, and he's going to show up at some places real soon, and he's going to show out.
Let me ask you this.
He's going to be the people's choice.
Are we going to see a return of the blonde hair?
Well, you may. Can I will say this. I miss being blonde. I really do.
What brought that on? What made you? What was the catalyst for you to go blonde, man?
Well, of course, you know, being trained under DK, you know, I wanted to honor that training. Right. You know, so of course he'll say, nobody can be me, kid, or anything like that. Nobody's going to do me, you understand? But
no, he'll say, I did it first.
Yeah, I did it first.
I did it first,
kid. But but who did it first? He's probably watching right now, laughing his ass off. But I wanted to give tribute to my to the guy who trained me, and everybody thought it was a good idea, and it was something different. You know, it brought me out. It brought me out my comfort zone. And when you step out of your comfort zone, you either sink or swim. And I swam.
Here's the thing about pro wrestling: when you walk through that curtain, you need them eyes to be on you. I don't know what it is. You got to have something that draws them eyes to you. Yeah. And man, when I seen you come out that first time with that blonde hair, I thought, this is the shit right here. He's on to it now. You can't not look at this dude. That's just the honest truth. It immediately draws your eyes. Look, when I used to come out, I wore a mask. Yeah, so when I first come out, I'd do a scream. And immediately when I do it, all eyes would turn back to me and watch me. And that's what you want. You want everybody's eyes on you when you walk through that curtain. I love the blonde hair, dude. I thought it was, here's the thing. even with the Muda gimmick, I can picture the blonde hair. Think about how all that dark paint would have popped off the blonde hair, man.
Yeah.
Man, I loved it. I did. I thought the
blonde.
first time I seen you, I thought, yeah, he's on to something here. He's definitely on to something here. I love it, dude.
And I was able to step out, like I said, I was able to step out of my comfort zone, you know, because that was when I turned heel. And you know, me generally, I'm a good guy. You know, man, I have a good heart. You know what I mean? And I have, you know, a great God who has made me this way. You know, but when I turned, I said, all right, I got to turn it up. And some people are not going to like me. I just have to get used to that fact. But I can't take that personal, because at the end of the day, it is just business. So let me do my business. Let me do what I was supposed to do here. Piss people off, wrestle, get paid, go home. And that was the basis of that. Now, once I started to add more and more and start to, you know, as a heel would think more self-consciously about himself and, you know, toot my own horn. And that's, I think, is when it really clicked. When I, you know, when I turned on Geo and they gave me the 3-minute promo. You know, when I came out with that 3-minute promo, I said exactly that. I challenged Mike Anthony for the title, and I said I'm going to be the next champ. You know, it didn't happen, of course, but people really thought like, okay, this Draco's the guy to look at now. Draco is the guy who's gonna is getting the push now. You've seen all the other guys get their pushes. You know what I mean? If you liked it, you liked it. You didn't, you didn't. But now it's Draco's time, and once that happened, that was like my coming out party, if you will.
And you know, 3 minutes. 3 minutes is a long time to fill when you're talking. That's a long promo. They had a lot of confidence in you to give you 3 minutes. It's easy to go out and hit 60, 90 seconds. But when you go to lingering over into 2 minutes and more and on up, then you got to really be saying, you got to have substance to what you're saying. Something that them fans can bite onto, you know. That's a hell of a compliment for you that they give you 3 minutes and trusted you to be able to fill those. Well,
well, it took some trusting to do, because if we're gonna go back to that first promo I did, you know, it was a little raw, it's a little rough, it's a little rockish, and not in the sense of, you know, being, you know, the most electrifying guy. It was very and if we're gonna go back to that, you know, I didn't plan on what I was gonna say when I said what I said that first promo I did when I was blonde. You know, I disrespected, and I didn't know that I did, nor did I have the intention to do that. You know, and whoever's watching knows that, you know, if I'm going to say it, you know, I did talk about Brian Christopher. I did. Did I mean to do it? No. Did I have intention on disrespecting him? No. When I said it, it just came off the dome. You know, and that promo was literally my first real promo as like a wrestler, already wrestling and already established. And from that point before, I had a lot of stuff going on with me, both mentally and physically, you know, and a lot of rage is in that promo. A lot of anger is in that promo. And I use that anger to express how I was feeling through that mic. Did I mean to disrespect anybody? No. Did it happen? Yes. Am I sorry for it? Yes. I do apologize.
I'm going to be honest with you, Draco. I didn't take it that way.
Yeah.
I did not. I just took it as I mean, here's the thing. How do you do? I've seen Lawler and them and Doug Gilbert and them talk about go dig your dead brother up and prop him up in the corner in the ring at the Coliseum Monday night. Mm-hmm. So for whatever. That's wrestling, man. That's just wrestling. It's only disrespectful if whoever takes it personal. I'm a fat dude. How am I going to get pissed if fans calling me fat? You know what I mean? Yeah. I mean, how you go, if you go cut a promo on me and you call me fat, how am I going to get pissed about that? You know what I'm saying? It's just part of it. I didn't, for me, it wasn't even like that. I loved it, dude. I didn't think it was, I thought it was you marking your territory.
Yeah.
I mean, it's what it felt like to me.
What it was, you know. But did I? And that hasn't been talked about since then. So this is like really the first time this is being opened up. And I want to, you know, set the example. You know what I mean? Like this, it's not what I plan to say. It's not what I mean to disrespect. So anybody that's in the Lawler family that's watching that was angry about what I said, I deeply apologize for that. You know. Now, after saying that, I will say this: any promo that I do now, if anybody takes personal, it is what it is, because I have to show now, and I have to stand my ground now. So with that being said, I know I'm the last dragon right now. You know what I mean? That's the whole gimmick, and that's what it has been for the past 3 years. But recently, and how I've been feeling lately, I plan to make myself the people's choice. No matter if they like me or not, I'm what the people want to see, and I'm what the people are going to see. And after they've done seeing me, they're going to want to see me again and again and again. Anywhere that I go, they're going to want to see me. And I'm going to put that out now. If you see Draco on any card, if you see The Last Dragon, if you see DRACO on any card, buy that ticket, because I promise you, you are going to be in for a show. And like Buster Unmasked says right under that, if you don't know, well, now you know, it's DRACO. Simple as that.
So you mentioned The Rock several times. Didn't you get to do some work on The Rock show?
I actually was an extra on Young Rock. And
let's talk about that. That had to have been fucking cool as hell, man.
I had some very good screen time. I'm not even gonna lie to you. I had some very good screen time. When I first, and this was when I first started training wrestling. So, and that also was like the clicking right there. I said, oh yeah, because I grew up watching Rock, wanted to be Rock. You know what I'm saying? I was the kid, you know what I mean, that put 4 chairs in our living room and use the ropes as toilet paper. You know what I'm saying? Put on a pair of black briefs and cut up some socks to put on some elbow pads and do stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like, that was me. I was the one who put on the tape of the greatest, you know what I'm saying, the most electrifying man in sports entertainment. I watched that tape from front to back, went to sleep on it. I studied this man. I really did. As DK talks about Lawler, I'm going to talk about Rock. And what he's doing now, beautiful. But I know I'm not The Rock. I know that The Rock has already been done. So I have to add a little more layer of stuff that's not only just what I studied, but also what I am. You know what I mean? I'm charismatic just like The Rock. I'll say it. I am good looking just like The Rock. What's different about me and Rock is, and I'll say it, it is what it is, Rock comes from that.
Right.
I don't. Rock, no matter if he wanted to do, you know what I'm saying, football at first, no matter if he did get that NFL job or he did get that Canadian Football League job and stayed there, he was going to be set no matter what, because he has the backup plan.
It wasn't meant to be. He was meant to be exactly what he became. He was
meant to be exactly what that was. He was meant to follow in his father's and his grandfather's footsteps and be the top star that he is today and the biggest star that's ever come through this industry.
Because life sometimes puts you on a path. You got one idea of what you want, but life and fate has a whole nother plan for you, and you might get some disappointments, but I guarantee you, I would bet you, if you asked The Rock right now, if you could go back and make it to the NFL and never be what you are, never become The Rock, would you do it? There ain't no way he's going to say yeah. There ain't no way he don't love being The Rock, because it's who he is, man.
Yeah.
How was it for you? Well, here's the thing. Pro wrestling is a weird sport, man. Pro wrestling opens the doors to a lot of things that you never think would happen or could happen. How was it when you looked around one day and you're filming for a TV show, man? You're on set, man. Talk about that, man.
It was like, wow, this is exactly how college was, but it's the real thing. You know what I mean? And I'm seeing the stars actually come in. I got to meet Luke Hawk, who played Stone Cold Steve Austin, who's also a professional wrestler. You know what I mean? Down who comes from New Orleans, Louisiana. That's where I went to college. You know what I'm saying? And it's funny because I've always had the invitation to start wrestling. Back when I was in college, you had Wildcat down in New Orleans. You know, I had the opportunity. There was when I was in the military, one of my drill sergeants, or one of my sergeants for drill, was a pro wrestler. He was like the Aztec Warrior. And so he was like, man, if you really think about it, come on down and train here. So I'm like, wow, that's funny how I've always had this instant. I've always had this wrestling come to me.
It looks like fate's been pushing you to wrestling, or pushing wrestling to you since you were a kid, man.
You say fate, I say God's plan. At the end of the day, it's the same thing.
Right. You know I agree with that 100%.
as much as, you know what I'm saying, you have guys my age that are buying, you know, the Call of Duties and the you know, MLBs and the NFL games. Me, I was always buying the SmackDown versus Raw. I was always buying the WWF games. Every year I always bought it, and I always made my character on it. And it wasn't until I started training where it was like, this is not just a game. This is not just a video game. This is not just something to play for pleasure or for leisure. This is a blueprint. This is literally a blueprint. And really click once I started using, you know what I'm saying, the game as a blueprint. All right, I could look, this is how I'd look if I come out. This is how this move would do if I did it. You know what I mean? This is how this would look. This is how I do it. And I still use the game to this day. You know what I mean? Because it takes a mind, you know what I mean, to look at something as for what it is. But it takes, I ain't gonna call myself a genius. I'm not Kanye. You know what I'm saying? But it takes it takes an imaginative mind to look at something and say, all right, this is how it's gonna be, and I'm gonna use this and use it as a canvas. So that way, once it's done, and it's gonna take a long time for this picture to be finally done, to be fully painted, so where we can put it up in a Hall of Fame somewhere or a museum somewhere. But once that canvas is done, you can finally look back and say, all this stuff was worth it. And I'm glad that this painting happened.
Well, let me ask you this: do you believe in visualization?
Yes.
I do too. I had Tavon Jordan on a few nights ago, Tuesday night, I think, and we had that conversation that I don't think people use visualization enough.
Yeah.
I mean, anything. Here's the thing: when I was wrestling, if I was headed to a show, the whole time, the whole car ride, I'm visualizing the entrance. I'm visualizing the crowd. Literally can see the reaction that they're giving me. Visualize the match layout. Visualize it all, man. And I think that goes a long way. I think that's a big thing that a lot of people, a lot of pro wrestlers don't utilize, man. It's kind of like manifest destiny.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
It's exactly that.
You visualize it enough, and it becomes fact. It becomes true.
So you know, there's a code that we learned in Taekwondo, at least in my federation. It's called Chung Sil Kwan, which is Korean for constant, never-ending improvement. And the 4 principles that make up that philosophy is imagination, inspiration, actualization, and realization. And basically, to sum up all those 4, you know what I mean, in the initial stage of philosophical development, or in the initial stage of you doing something, you're going to imagine it. You know what I mean? And when you imagine something, you set goals beyond your current limitations. Right. And from this, you'll visualize your achievements in advance. So if you're going to say, if you start this new job, I mean, you're going to say by month 6, I'm going to be employee of the half year, you know, or I'm going by month 6, you're going to say, when you go in that first day, you're going to say at that next year, I'm going to be employee of the month, or I'm going to be employee of the year. By month 6, you should already be on that road because you already said it. You've already put that out in the air. Dick Gregory talked about that. You know what I mean? Once you put something out in the air, that's why words are powerful, and words can be heard from anywhere to where that word or that phrase can be manifested. That's why you know, I'm a godly man. You know what I mean? I'm a believer in God, and God brought me to this place where I have, and I'm blessed by Him. I really am. So that's why any prayer that I do, I always end it and start it with, let the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart be acceptable in thy sight. Basically meaning whatever I say comes from the heart. And I mean that. And what I mean to say, I want that to be manifested and to come into fruition by God's grace. That's exactly what that means. And that's how to live. You know what I mean? If you're going to say something, you're going to do it. Because a lot of guys can say something and they haven't done a lick of anything to start it. You know what I mean? You just got to start. Everything else is going to be straight down. It's straight up from there. And that's how wrestling was when I started. Once I started and I stopped saying, look, I can't do this. I can't do this. Once I started believing in myself, it went up, and it went uphill from there. And it's still uphill.
And here's the thing, man. It is a prime time for young guys in the wrestling business that really want to make it, that's really hungry and want to get to that top level. Man, look, you got these WWE ID things out here now.
Exactly.
And that's how me and Ricky Kennedy had a conversation about guys we thought were potential WWE ID guys, and you were one of the guys we discussed. Ricky Kennedy, APW promoter.
I know.
He's high on Draco, man. Really high on you. And I'm the same way. I thought, man, here's the thing. What is your thoughts about that? Because there's an opportunity now that had never really been there before.
Well, it's big shout out to Aaron Roberts, man. Big shout out to Aaron Roberts for getting the WWID from Memphis. You know what I mean? Because not only does that put eyes on him, that puts eyes on us. You know what I mean? Anything that we're doing. But and Aaron, and anybody that said that Aaron didn't deserve it is full of themselves. You know what I mean? And I didn't know this until I did my research. Aaron's been wrestling since 2013. Right. You know what I mean? And that's it. And he's a young buck. You know what I mean? He really is. And I can say because I'm older than him. You know what I'm saying? But he's this. He wrestling's in his blood. You know what I mean?
Literally, it's in his blood.
Yeah, it's his daddy's a wrestler. His daddy has a hell of a clothesline. Trust me, I know. I felt it firsthand. You know,
Big Red done hit you with that clothesline.
Big Red is no joke. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Big Red and shout out to Cordell too. Shout out to the whole Roberts family.
Really,
you know
I mean, talk about brothers of destruction. Yeah, for real. Aaron and Cordell, they brothers of destruction, man.
But with this WWID thing, that, like I said, it puts a lot of eyes on indie guys, and with this social media that we have, you know what I mean, that's the perfect outlet for us to promote ourselves. So hopefully one day, you know what I mean, with the promotion that I'm doing, that that maybe I could get ID'd one day. Am I looking forward to being that? No, but like in this business, like Vince McMahon said, anything can happen in the pro wrestling world.
Right.
You know, we just had John Cena turn heel after 20 years, bro.
Right.
So anything can happen. Who's to say after this podcast right there, Draco gets WWID? What? So, but anything can happen, man. But like I said, I'm gonna, believe in myself, be fully confident in myself, do what I have to do to not only make it, but make it for those that can come in before me and come in after me. So that way their trainings and their instilling of knowledge, not only knowledge, but belief in us is worth it, and it's not made in vain, because a lot of I'll say it, a lot of people are counting on us, you know what I mean? And that us is very few.
Right.
That us is it's slowly growing, but it's few of us that actually have the chance, because we're told this, that have that chance of actually, making it, as they say. And DK and everybody, all the best will say, well, what's making it? Everybody knows what's making it now. You know what I mean? Being signed to a major promotion, or even a minor promotion, but a major promotion that's enough to where we can quit our 9-to-5s. You know what I mean?
And there you go. That's really what it's really all about for guys. I'm a firm believer in don't get in this business if you want to be the weekend guy. You only want to wrestle on Friday and Saturday night.
Right.
Don't waste the fans' time. Don't waste your time. Don't waste my time.
Yeah.
If you want to get in the pro wrestling business, your goal should be make it to the biggest stage you can possibly get to. And that may not, just because that's what you want, you may not make it to the WWE. But you might make it to NWA. You might make it to AEW. You might make it to TNA. Japan. Exactly. Yeah, Japan. Guys make a lot of fucking money in Japan, man.
Stupid money.
A lot of money in Japan, man. And man, I'll be honest with you. I watched the Evolve show on Tubi late last night.
Yeah, I did too.
You got NXT, but I'm going to tell you something. That Evolve show is another layer that the WWE is starting to build around for the independent circuit. Different stages. So now you ain't just got with this ID deal, now it ain't just if they want to give you a developmental deal, because there's a lot of guys that they may want to kind of keep around and keep an eye on, but they ain't ready to fully give them a developmental deal, so now they can ID them. Now they don't have to take these guys and put them straight on NXT. Now they can take them and put them on Evolve.
Yeah.
And go from there. I'll tell you what, the main event on Evolve last night.
No, for real.
Dude, I put out a post last night after it. I said, is Evolve already better than NXT? I mean, it's the truth, man. They killed it. Them dudes killed it last night, man. The girls, too.
Yeah, like the first class, because there's going to be other WWIDs that come after this.
Right.
You know what I mean? But this first class of WWID guys, you know what I mean? They're top notch. You know what I mean? Cappuccino Jones, you know what I'm saying? One of the guys I look at, you know what I'm saying? Of course, you got Swipe right. Of course, they just came to Memphis. You know, of course, our man Aaron Roberts. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's like, he's like one man gang. He said, no, he's the problem. You know what I mean? That's what because it's good to say what he reminds you of, but the man's his own man. You know what I mean? And he's put in that light to be his own man. That's why he got ID'd in the first place.
And his character's off the fucking charts, man.
Yeah.
I'll be honest with you. Aaron,
he can talk.
He can work, yes.
Yeah.
But his character is, I mean, and the thing about WWE, we all know that most of the time, a great character trumps everything else. Yes. As long as you can go good enough in the ring to make it happen, and you got a great character, and Aaron can do it all. Like you said, he can talk. He can actually go, especially for a big guy, because I was a big guy too.
Yeah.
A lot of big guys want to do a few moves and they need to rest a few seconds. Aaron's a consistent worker. He's a consistent worker. When you watch his matches, there's no explosive couple of moves, and then while the guy's selling, he's sitting there 30, 60 seconds kind of catching his wind. Not with Aaron. He's steady moving. It's a consistent pace. And like I said, his character is off the charts.
Yeah. And you know what I mean? Like with him being WWID, and it's crazy because, because NWA starting to do like their territory thing now. They're bringing back the territories. They just had, here I am in Texas. They have NWA Texas now. You know what I'm saying? They just opened up, I think it's NWA New Mexico, if I'm not mistaken. So there's multiple routes that a brother can go, you know what I mean, to where, even if it's not WWE, if it's not here, it's not there, it's something. And when you have something, you work up from there. You know what I'm saying? You got to think positive.
Anytime you can't climb that next step up from where you were in life, in wrestling, in anything, then you're on the right track.
Absolutely.
Anytime, I don't care if it's 1 steps or you jump 5 steps.
Yeah.
Anytime you take that 1 little inch higher than you were before, you're making progress. And that's what the wrestling business is about, making it to the next level. We all start at 0. Right. Every one of us start at 0, and it's about climbing that ladder, climbing them steps from that point on, and seeing how high you can actually get, man.
One of like the not big reasons, but one of the main reasons why I moved out here to Texas. You know what I'm saying? I had some personal stuff going on, which is really more of the reason. But, Texas has a wrestling lore. It has a wrestling history. It has a rich wrestling history. You know what I mean? Steve Austin would say, you're not something until you go to the Dallas Sportatorium. You know what I'm saying? That place is still open to this day. You know what I mean? So it's like you have multiple avenues of going through this. And I don't want people to think like when people from Memphis or people from Osceola or from Arkansas or any place I work to say, oh, he moved up there so he can be better. Like he can't be better here. No, it's not that. You have to learn, and I open myself up to learn, and not just learn from one place, learn from multiple places. In Japan, when those young boys come up, like guys like Okada and guys like when Muto did his class, they went on excursions. They call them excursions. They leave their home country or their home promotion, and they go to other places not only to learn but to develop themselves and to develop their character and to win a gimmick. So when they do come back, they're established. You know what I'm saying? That's why guys go to Mexico to learn lucha libre, or to go to Japan and learn strong style, or to go to Japan or go to Europe to learn how they do things and their way of wrestling. Because when you come back, you learn from different spots. Style separates man, and that's a Bruce Lee quote. Style separates man, but learning from different aspects, you know what I mean? Learning from different aspects of stuff makes you more versatile. Because if you get something from one place, you become rigid and you become stale. Nobody likes stale stuff.
And you quit learning. I mean, there comes a point where if you stay at the same place long enough, you become the top guy. And once you become that guy around that place, you ain't really learning nothing, because everybody else comes along, they're below you. So you're actually teaching them. If you want to step up, you got to go somewhere else. And here's the thing about wrestling. You need to go work in front of different fans. You need to go work in different companies. You need to go work with as much different talent as you possibly can.
Absolutely.
Because that's what makes a great professional wrestler, is being able to step in the ring and work with anybody at any time. That's the best pro wrestlers, no matter if you're Japanese, Mexican, American. The guys who can step in there and make a great match happen, no matter who it is or what style, those are the guys who are mostly successful.
You're absolutely right, because because not only are fans different, you know what I'm saying, crowds are different, wrestlers are different. You know, I've wrestled a couple shows here in Texas while I've been here. I'm booked on a couple more shows in the future if we're gonna bring that up. But Texas style is different from Memphis. Of course, they're both stiff. You know what I mean? But it's like having Spanish in, you have Mexican Spanish and you have Spain Spanish.
Right.
It's the same, but you have some stuff that are tweaked a little bit,
right,
or are said differently that have different meanings. You know what I mean? Because if you whip a guy off and you're gonna reverse him, usually, you know what I mean, you turn and you do the reverse. Here in Texas, some folks do the I call it the do-si-do. You know what I mean? They go under like Booker T used to.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's just different here. That's just how it's called. And you have to learn that, you know, so that way when you're out there, you're not looking like a fool. You have to learn to adapt. You have to learn to adapt, discard what is unnecessary, adapt, and make what is uniquely your own.
And be fluent.
Yeah.
Be fluent, man. You got to be able to be fluent, man. It's just
exactly.
I mean, wrestling is here's the thing, and you being a college guy, theater guy, taekwondo, military, you're highly disciplined. Is just from talking to you, I feel like you're a guy who highly disciplined. You understand that you got to stay on track. You can't, sure, well, look, we all get sidetracked, and you might be mentally sidetracked at times, but you can't let that physically sidetrack you from what you're doing and what your goals and aspirations are. Right. And I feel like you're a perfect example. I'm going to be honest with you, dude, after talking to you, I don't see no way you do not make it. As far as you want to go, dude. I am way more of a Draco fan right now than I was when this thing started, honestly.
I appreciate that.
Here's the thing. Most of us, I'm a high school dropout. Most of us, wrestling's a dream.
Yeah.
The guys who are Flair, he's a college guy. He may not have went through and finished college and graduated, but he went through it. Education, Steiners, you know what I mean? Education goes a long way. You couldn't tell me that when I was in 9th grade and I'm going to be a star. You know, all I ever wanted to be was a pro wrestler, and that's what I'm going to do.
Right.
But in hindsight now, I see the value of education. Here's the thing. Wrestling is a hard code business.
Yeah.
And it takes a lot of super cutthroat, and it takes a lot of maturity, really. As a wrestler, as a person, you need to be really mature to deal with some of the bullshit that you have to deal with in the wrestling business. And I just feel like, man, with your college education, the military background, taekwondo, you seem like your whole life's been pretty well disciplined. You're a disciplined guy.
And I had a lot of the good folks that raised me. You know, it took a village to raise me. You know, I didn't have like just one set person or just a mom and dad to help me out. I had multiple people that were brought into my life, not only by man, but by God. So that way I could, you know, be this individual that I am today. Would I call myself great? No, because I still have a lot more growing up to do. I have a lot more maturing to do. But of what I was before I started and what I am now, I can definitely say that there's a change, and that change is for the better. I'm not only looking at myself now, I'm looking at, you know, what I leave behind. You know what I mean? Like, and I want this. I want this to be my dream, and this is my dream. I want to be remembered from this, and so from this, I want this to open doors for me, so that way, you know what I'm saying, the generation behind me, you know, my kids, my kids' kids. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? I'm engaged, you know what I mean? And I want to be married, and I want to give the person that I'm with now, you know what I'm saying, the whole world. So that way she don't have to work, or she don't have to worry about anything, or where the next meal is going to come from, or when the lights bill is going to be paid. You know what I mean? If I got to sacrifice my body or sacrifice a little time away from, you know what I'm saying, from her to do that, so that way we can have that. And that's what wrestling is. Then I got to do that. You know what I mean? And that's what I feel that I had to get over. You know, there's going to be times where you're going to be separated a little bit. It is what it is. Right. You know what I mean? But I'm also a faithful man, you know, and I'm also, you know, and I also take my relationship seriously. So with that, like I'm able to separate personal and business.
And that's a big thing in pro wrestling. It's I don't know if it's as big a deal now as it was back in the 70s, 80s, and 90s, because it was just so, it was like the wild, wild west.
Yeah.
You know, everybody, guys wasn't in the dressing room playing video games and stuff like that. Everybody was drinking, smoking, bullshit and talking about going to the bar, the strip club after. But that, even back then, the guys who had relationships that, like you said, faithful, that their wife didn't have to worry about them going out and what they were actually doing. Even if they went to the bar or something with the boys, she didn't have to worry about them bringing one of the girls home.
Yeah.
You know, that right there, it's hard in the wrestling business to have a relationship most of the time for most people. But if you're a disciplined guy like you are, and you got a strong relationship and you trust each other, I mean, it can be done, man.
Yeah.
Look at Dutch Mantel, man. I mean,
exactly.
You know, it can be.
And
done.
I want to be the ones that prove those guys wrong. You know what I'm saying? And I love proving people wrong. And if I get proved wrong, and I'm not afraid to say that, all right, then I was wrong. You know, but for something to tell me that it's not to be done, don't tell me that. You know, because with God, everything's possible. You know what I'm saying? And I'm always gonna be like that. So, I'm always that selfish where I'm gonna have my cake and eat it too. You know what I mean? And if I'm making that cake, I'm going to have it and eat it too, no matter what. Right. So that's just how I think of it. You know, it is what it is.
Dude, I have so enjoyed this. This has been one of the highlights. Actually, I had a crazy podcast Sunday, had a great podcast Tuesday, and this one finished my week off for me, man. Look, dude, like I told you, I'm 10 times the Draco fan than I was an hour and a half ago. That's when we started. Dude, you keep your head on your shoulders like you got it. I don't see no way you're not gonna make it, man. You're gonna get there. You keep pushing, you're gonna get there. You got all the assets you need to be 100% successful in the wrestling business.
Yes, sir.
It's
now,
like
now I got no choice. But Hellraiser told me I got no choice, man. So I gotta make it. I gotta make it, Jesus.
No, dude, you look, man. Like I said, most wrestlers are this is what they dream. Most wrestlers, you're a different cat, man. Just let me say it like that. You're a different cat, dude, and cats like you, man, got a good head on their shoulders. And here's the thing. None of that even matters. What really matters is you got that, plus you can do this shit. You have every tool. You can talk. You have a presence when you walk through that curtain. You have the promo. You've got charisma. And you can go in the ring. And I mean, put that with who you are as a person, I don't see no way you could lose, Draco.
I hope so. Because I'm trying hard. I really am. But I'll say this, though. And if we're going to end on something hot, we're going to end on something hot. With Buster saying that, with Hellraiser saying that right now, if anybody watching or watches this and is watching this live now that's in the Mid-South and they are having doubts on what Buster just said, come to Osceola tomorrow. Come to Osceola tomorrow and see me take on whoever I'm taking on. And see that you don't go back and say, I got to keep watching this Draco guy. Show up to MACW ASWF in Tuckerman on Saturday and watch me face Austin Lane for the multimedia championship and see if I don't take that back to the Dragon Slayer here in Texas.
That's a hell of a match right there, too. I seen the flyer for that match. That's a hell of a. You and Austin Lane have a hell of a match, man.
And we have a hell of a history. You know what I mean? We wrestled. You know what I'm saying? Multiple occasions.
Right.
I'll say this right now. The score is 1-1. And when I come on Saturday, when I come to Tuckerman on Saturday, I plan to make that 2-1. 2 me, Austin 1. You know. And I plan on taking his championship, which is a new championship in Osceola. I mean, in Tuckerman, Arkansas, MACW. Right. You know what I mean? And giving tribute to MACW. I know we just lost Rocky, Rick, and Roland, one of the best vets I've ever met in this business in the Mid-South. You know what I mean? And he's very, very well respected guy. And I thank them now, and I thank them then for allowing not only me but guys around me to have something that we can call home and something that we can always go back to. The Valiant Arena is another place I grit my teeth at. It's I call it my dojo, my NXT, my thing that my arena where I could try something new, where I could try something different. And that crowd is either going to tell you, you don't need to do that, or, oh, I like that, you should keep doing that, or you should do that again, or when you did that, that was perfect, man. Like, you do that all the time. You learn from these crowds, you learn from these environments. And I've learned as much as I did in Osceola, as I did in Memphis, as I did in Tuckerman as well. So like I said, if anybody has any doubts on the abilities that I have, come to Osceola tomorrow. You know what I mean? Come to Osceola, 1098 West Kaiser Street. Yeah, I know, Harry. I know the address. Come at 8 o'clock and see me tear down whoever's going up. Because at the end of the day, I'm the last dragon, but I'm the people's choice. And everybody's going to know that. And if they don't know, well, now they know.
I love that confidence,
on Saturday,
dude.
Osceola on Friday. The last dragon returns back home. And he's going to do what he has to do. And he's going to do what he must. And that's inhale smoke, breathe fire, spit venom, be the people's choice. Say if you don't know what now you know. And that's it. And I hit that scissor kick, and I'm going to hit that Muda's elbow, shades of the great Muda, as Cornbread calls it in Osceola. Yeah, I'm going to hit that too. You know what I mean? And it's going to be a wrap. And I'm going to go back home, and I'm going to get on my flight. And I'm going to do exactly what I did here in Osceola. And in Tuckerman tomorrow is what I'm going to do in Texas when I take over here as well.
I love that confidence, dude. I love that, man. It oozes through the screen. You got any social media you want to plug before we get out of here, man?
Definitely, man. Hey, if you got an Instagram, Draco the Last Dragon, right there. It's all lowercase, all together. Draco the Last Dragon. I think I'm on that on Facebook too. If you're on TikTok, Draco the People's Champ. Draco, yes, yep. You know what I mean? But Draco the Last Dragon. If you look that up on Google, I'm the first man that's gonna pop up. You know, so be on the lookout because Draco's doing some special stuff and he's about to be a part of some special promotions, some special bookings coming up here, not only in Texas but back home. You know what I mean? Look out for me. Look out for that DRACO because it's gonna be coming, and once it's in bright lights, I'm gonna be hard to find, but you'll be able to find me if you dig what I'm saying. You'll be able to see me. I'll be hard.
There you go, man. You ain't like John Cena. They're going to be able to see your ass.
You don't see me. You don't see me.
Draco, dude, thank you so much for coming on, man. I appreciate you so much.
It's
Truly,
been a pleasure.
Dude, this has been one of my favorite podcasts I've ever done, man.
Yeah,
you made me a bigger fan than I already was, man. Look, man, you and your fiance, man, y'all have a great night, my friend.
Yes, sir. Hey, Buster Unmasked. If you don't know, well, now you know. He's always got this podcast. If you ain't watching it, you're missing out because it's the thing to watch. It's what the people want. It's what the people get, and it's what the people have. Buster Unmasked. And if you don't know, well, now you know. It's the podcast.
And we bring you the people's choice too, Draco.
If
you take it in, my friend.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. All right, y'all. Awesome podcast. I no bullshit at all. One of my favorite podcasts. This dude just made me a fan for life. I was already a fan. I'll follow his career from now to the day it ends, man, without a doubt. All right, guys, I want to appreciate everybody who interacted with us, everybody who watched. I got to promote my upcoming podcast. Let's do that right quick, and then I'll let you guys out of here.
I've been dreaming on in my head like I've seen it. A life worth living is a life with meaning. I'll do what I love till my heart stops beating. I'm feeding this demon. Got a taste, can't erase bitterness in my face. Work a job every day till your dreams fade away. Like a card, never change, play the game that we say. I need a break. I'm staying strong, need to move on to be what I want. I'll keep dreaming on. I'm staying strong, need to move on to be what I want. I'll keep dreaming on. same pace on when I chase like that. Yeah, I play so strong with a knife in the back. I'ma swing home run like a baseball bat. Gonna see me rise, you can hate on that. I don't play both sides, don't need no cap. I'ma ride or die for my dreams on tap. I'ma fly real high, you ain't see me slack. No, it's not how you fall, it's how you get right back up. That's how you get tough. Calluses on my hands so rough, yeah, I call your bluff. I'm not the one, mess with me, come down with none. Cause I'm so done, you had your fun. And now you're gonna face down the barrel of the gun. Cause I got a full clip with your name on it. But I'ma let you slide cause you ain't worth it. Time staying strong, need to move on to be what I want, I'll keep dreaming on. Time staying strong, need to move on to be what I want, I'll keep dreaming.
All right, guys, you've seen it right there. Got a lot of cool podcasts coming out. Be sure to check them out. I will be back this coming Tuesday with the GOAT, K-Swiss, 7 p.m. Do not miss it. Guys, everybody, check out Draco. Anywhere you see this guy's name on a poster, go check him out if you get an opportunity. A great guy, hell of a talent in the pro wrestling business. Guys, y'all take it easy. I'll see you Tuesday.
I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up.
I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement.
Everything I do so instinctive and so passionate. Every word I move so descriptive like an adjective. I got a vendetta against people who patented being negative when you should be getting after it. I got facts over tracks, this and that. Spitting slow, spitting fast. I could roast, I could gas. Think I'm okay at last, but I don't know if that can erase all the past. And the pettiness, a reflection of the emptiness. Hilarious, you think you're worth my time, you're delirious. Mysterious, because you hide behind a fake exterior. Inferior, you know I'll always be a bit superior. Get off of me, this ain't no humble brag. I want you to hear words, you can say them back. I want you to feel free from the chains at last, and to believe in what you got, it was built to last, yeah.
Now that I've been put through hell, I never got anyone's help. I had to do it all myself. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement.